Hi, hi all. Thanks for being with me. Now, um, I'm going to play a clip for you from Sky News. Now, I'm doing this because it's important for us, I think, to understand what the right wing are being told about issues that matter to them. Now, actually, the issues that they're talking about matter to all of us. It's just that they have a specific spin that I think is important. And on this particular take from Sky News, it is an interesting look at the way they view Dutton, tariffs, and what they could have been doing that would have been different. So here we have Rita Panahi and her mates talking about tariffs and what they miraculously believe Dutton should have done. Not only what he would have done had he been Prime Minister, and how the issues with Donald Trump and the tariffs that is imposed upon Australia, how in fact Dutton would have dealt with it then. But not only that, it's an interesting insight as to what they believe Dutton could do now, given his pending opportunity to become Prime Minister of this country. So it's an interesting take. So I'll play that for you in just a second. But before I do, I was just wondering whether perhaps you might find it in your heart to subscribe to my channel, to ring the bell for further notifications. Let me know what you think, which most of you do, about some of the videos that I put out. I'd really appreciate it. So I'm going to play the video now, and I'll talk about it as we go along. But Rita starts talking about an interesting aspect of the pending election, and that is, and this must hurt them greatly, that Albanese has moved ahead of Peter Dutton as preferred Prime Minister. Now, what interests me most is that in the light of the fact that Albanese has appeared to be able to handle the issue around tariffs in a diplomatic and appropriate manner, and that most of the Australian people appreciate that. And secondly, most Australians do not like the way Trump is running the United States. In fact, most of us see it as abhorrent, as terrible behaviour, and that here in Australia, I believe, we would not allow a Trumpist person to even exist. So why would we expect then Dutton to behave the same way? But these people believe he should, that this is the way, because as Rita said inaccurately, Donald Trump won by a landslide. Well, he didn't. But nevertheless, that's the story they wish to tell, as inaccurate as it might be. But they have a specific view of the way Dutton should be behaving. And they're a wee bit critical, I hasten to add. So let's just see what she has to say.
Peter Dutton needs to be bolder. He needs to stop being meek. He needs to find that voice mojo that he had, where he was strong.
The voice was great.
Where he was articulating.
I like that idea that it's the voice mojo. So because the No campaign won that terrible debate, and I won't go into that again, it seems to me that is a certain mojo that he had. No, it wasn't. It was more about racism that sits in this country than it was about anything else. And it was a very poor Yes campaign. So all that aside, I don't understand what she's talking about when she's talking about this so-called mojo of his.
Israel, he's great on Israel.
Yeah, well, okay, but he's not going to win an election on that. And the latest news poll shows that the gap between him and Anthony Albanese has widened. In Anthony...
Oh, that must hurt. Oh, this must hurt. I don't even believe that Rita's saying this, but good on her for at least acknowledging a truthful fact.
Albanese's favour, and I think that is a reflection of the fact that people still don't know precisely what his plan for this country is. And You mentioned net zero. I think one of the reasons they are reluctant.
Another interesting admission that Australians, and we're only a month or so away from an election, that we don't know what Peter Dutton's plan for Australia is.
And to pull out of Paris and say we're abandoning this destructive policy is because he is frightened of these Donald Trump comparisons. Instead of actually dismissing the media, dismissing the activist class and treating them with the disdain they deserve, like Donald Trump did and won in a landslide, the Liberals in this country...
I like that idea that she's talking about dismissing the media and the activist class. Now, is it possible that people like Rita believe that the media should be abandoned, which is a Trump policy, that activists should be deported where possible? Is this version of the way she sees the Australian people or the policies that Dutton should be implementing an extreme, radical 2025 project as expressed by Donald Trump and the Republican Party? Is this really where Rita and her cohorts here believe that we should be going?
Country at state and federal level are spooked by any sort of media backlash, by any sort of activist backlash, and that's
100%.
why they will not come out. That's why they will match Labor, and I think that's what we're going to see.
Absolutely.
Labor are going to go on a spending spree on this budget to try to buy their way back into power and to stay in power, and I think the Libs are going to match it because they'll be too frightened not to, and that is not the answer for a country that's got the debt we have.
It's the opposite, James. I wrote in my Spectator Australia editorial this week that Dutton must embrace Trump. Stop running away from Trump. Stop being scared of Trump. Stop saying things like, oh, yeah, we're going to keep Kevin Rudd in there. Embrace the Trump philosophy. Why can't the Libs understand that the blueprint is there for success? All they have to do. Why isn't Peter Dutton on a plane to Washington, sitting there in the Oval Office with Donald Trump saying, right, we're going to form a government that you're going to want to do business with? Why has Dutton not done that, James?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many things that he could be doing, and you're absolutely right. I mean, the Kevin Rudd thing, by the way, I think we need to talk a bit more about that because, you know, having Kevin Rudd in that position, we said on this program, we have all been...
Okay, so they hate Kevin Rudd. Big deal. Not my favourite person either. But, you know, we can't complain about him too much after he does speak Mandarin. But the interesting thing here is that that they're saying that the policies of Trump should be adopted and that Dutton should be able to, or could be able to, walk in, have a conversation to Trump, tell Trump that Australia is a great nation and blah, blah, all the stuff that I'm sure that has been told to Trump and his administration over the last few weeks anyway. But somehow these morons believe that somehow Dutton has a magic wand, that somehow Dutton will be able to achieve what 120 other nations who have been tariffed have attempted to do as well. And it's absolute, to be quite frank, it's absolute bullshit. It's crap they're spouting. And what does alarm me the most is that this extreme right-wing version of politics that these people believe Dutton should start endorsing is, firstly, it's not acceptable in this country. Yet these people believe incorrectly. It's erroneous, in fact, to believe that Australians would accept anything that is Trumpian. And they do seem to forget that it is Trump who has the power because he is in the most powerful nation, he's president of the most powerful nation on earth. So he has the power and authority to be able to make changes in the world that Australia can't, that we're in many ways quite insignificant, and that somehow he's going to, Dutton can walk through Trump's door as opposition leader and demand these things from Trump is bizarre. And it goes to show, I think, that these people sit on the lunatic fringe. They're as crazy as they come. And that we need to be mindful that this sort of rhetoric is going to permeate through the campaign, and that we need to be careful and watchful that Dutton doesn't start to apply some of these crazy ideas that we get from Sky News. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for further notifications, do what you need to do. I'd really appreciate it. In the meantime, I would just like to say, take care, look after yourselves, and make sure that the people that you love are safe. Thanks a lot.